Hey there, so today we have another review. This is Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, obviously. I don't believe I've actually reviewed this straight up on the channel for you guys. Such a classic beer. Why do I have this beer? Well, it's actually pretty interesting. I went to Costco, and they, strangely enough, so a lot of times, like, you guys are used to stores, they sell these, like, mixed 12 packs. This was different. It was a mixed case. So a case of beer, like, if you ever, like, worked at a retailer, bar, or whatever, a case of beer is, like, 4 6-packs of 24 beers. Instead of 24 beers of the same, like, 4 6-packs of the same beer, it's a mixed case. So you get 6-pack of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, Torpedo, Flipside Red. Actually, I'm really excited about that, which I've obviously reviewed for one of my favorite beers of the year. And then Snowed In, their Winter Warmer. And the pricing was insane. Something like $32 for the case, which if you guys math it out, like, ideally you're buying, $12 for a $12 for a 6-pack. So it should ideally be $48, and you're paying about $32. So it's a decent amount of savings. You can't even get that price if you buy it by the like the mixed 12 packs or whatever. So yeah, let's dig into the beer. So classic beer. So a lot of confusion people have is like they think pale ale. This historically was pale, but in today's world, this is not very pale at all, right? What people mean when they think pale ale is actually more like probably like a blonde ale, Kolsch, American wheat ale, a light lager, Pilsner, Helles, a bunch of other styles that are actually like pale. This comes in a obviously a deep gold color, borders on amber, but yeah, obviously deep gold for sure, a really deep gold. So obviously not that pale. So yeah, I mean, it comes from the British brewing tradition where pale, like their version of pale sort of comes from the idea that this was pale back in the day because malt used to be wood-fired kiln, and so those malting processes back in the 1600s would be causing the beers generally to be pretty dark. So when finally coke was used as a fuel source to heat dry malts, you get a pale beer in this colors, all right? And so let's take this beer. Off-white head. On the nose, yeah, very floral. Lots of this fresh green hop character. Reminds you a little bit of just like opening a bag of hops, some pine needles, a little bit of grapefruit. Sells you on a little bit of like red crust and that kind of crystal malt sweetness. Cheers. So we'll say, unfortunately, I did buy this about 3 months fresh. Warm shelf, so not ideal. But then again, I can't always be reviewing beers that are like 2 weeks fresh, and like nobody's like super anal like me, like going to the store, checking bottle dates, making sure that I'm buying the beer the week that the beer store got it. Like most people out in the wild are going to buy beers that's going to sit on the shelf for 2-3 months. Obviously, this is going to be way past its prime when you're talking maybe 4, 5, 6 months, but 3 months ideally we're there, and this is pretty good. Definitely not in its prime, but definitely not in a place where I'd be like, all right, yeah, I would contact Sierra Nevada. Like it's not ideal, but it's still pretty good. And they obviously have some of the, arguably, yeah, probably. I'm just trying to figure out what word to use. They probably have some of the best quality control with dissolve oxygen ability to extend shelf life on beers, right? So, one of the most popular beers, the most popular video on the channel is talking about like the difference between pale ale, IPA, double IPA. It's a very educational video. It's caught on because a lot of people ask that question. The nice way to call this beer is just American IPA light. It's not watery as session IPA. It's not around that 4-5% range. It's probably 5-6, which some people would call IPA. But it just is a little bit smaller of an IPA, right? You get a little bit of that crystal malt sweetness, that kind of like toasted bread crust thing going on, classic kind of Sierra Nevada thing. Actually, a lot of more modern IPAs don't have this crystal malt flavor in them. But you clearly taste hops. Just like the nose, you just get that green hoppy character to it. I don't know, it's a little bit marijuana-ish, a little bit vegetal, but hops have a very distinct, like, actual, it's generally, I associate with, it's called myrcene, but it's got that myrcene, just like green hoppy flavor. It's quite nice, has a little bit of oiliness to it, so it actually lingers with like hoppiness on the palate. The beer has a moderate to moderate plus bitterness. I want to say I'm getting a little bit of like dryness on the palate, and that could be oxidation. It's hard to figure out where the bitterness, like the beer's going to be somewhat dry. The bitterness is going to come in, but there's an extra kind of almost like a sucking on a tea bag kind of thing, the tannic drying, and that generally would be associated with oxidation. So definitely past its prime, but I would still drink this beer. I've actually had a few beers off the out of the pack already. They all taste fine. Again, it's sort of what you're going to get. Like, You're not going to get 100 out of 100. Even on the great day, I know for a fact, these beers are shipped. So what I'm going to get 85, 90% of like quality product, even when at its freshest. I suspect this beer's at like 70, 75%, maybe 80%. Right? Like, I'm not going to get the full fresh experience, like, boom, right out of the right tank or right from the brewery, from the source, and this being brewed out of Mills River, North Carolina. I'm not going to get that experience. And I'm not going to get the experience that, it just arrived off the shelf, but it's still mostly there and, past its prime, but still very good. Again, these are very, like, small details, like, to look for that kind of, like, little drying thing. I think most drinkers would still very much enjoy this beer. Quite hoppy, floral, a little bit of floral element to it, grapefruit pith, tasty beer. I guess I have to. Okay, I'm gonna help you guys in a second. All right, Dad's on dad duty, so good thing I just almost finished this review. Let's throw a number down quickly. For some people, this is like one of their favorite beers. I mean, it's such high utility, high repeatability. I find there are a few other beers that I really go plug towards, especially when you're talking about hoppy beer. I find that there's a beautiful spot at around like 7.5 and 8%. It's just like, woof. Granted, at my age, probably drinking less of those beers. Well, I actually don't really drink that much of those beers, but probably better to stick around 5.6 like this beer. But it's okay. Oh, no, I'm sorry, baby. I know. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. It's literally, first off, it's the day before New Year's Eve and people have to be cracking fireworks. Like, come on, guys. So the dog doesn't like it. The kids don't like it. But let's go with the rating on this guy. I know. You're okay. Oh, my God. Look at that dirty face. What a bad example that's set for you guys. Let's go with a solid... It's a classic. It's repeatable. 95. I mean, I think a lot of people have this 100 out of 100. Like, they're one of their desert island beers. Maybe one day we'll get there. I mean, like, my palate's always adjusting and evolving, and it's pretty fun. But until next time, guys, cheers. Later.